for singing. Okay. Of course, he's also very famous for his charity, his charity work. All right, he has donated a lot of money towards charity as a Wu Earth. All right, he's a Wu Earth, but he has a lot of metal within his Man pillar, which represents singing and music. Okay, so are we able to understand? Okay, how we are able to find out what are the characteristics of a person? And of course, given that gunmetal here within his chart, right? Gunmetal here will be able to produce water. I have mentioned many times in previous lessons that what will output be able to help us with? Output will help us to generate wealth. Okay, so let us look at the decade trends of Michael Jackson. Okay, perhaps I will just quickly write down his birth chart, the year, the date, and time of birth. I mean, the year is born in 1958. You all can plot his own chart and do a case study. August 29. Right, the hour of birth is she. Okay, she. Right, so I will write his birth chart again. Wu Xu, Gen, Shen, and Wu Ying, and Ren Xu. All right, it's a strong formation. He's a strong day master. And look at his decade trends, right? His earlier years, all right, his year, I mean the 10-year cycle, all right, the 10-year cycle started with Xing You, followed by Ren Xu, followed by Kui Hai, followed by Jia Zhi, followed by Yi Chou. Actually, he passed away within Yi Chou. Okay, remember Chou, what is the storage of Chou? Storage of Chou is metal. Chou is a metal storage. And he passed away during the Chou because the storage is serving as a form of tomb. Do you remember the Shen Qu Chou Wei, right? We have the tomb. Okay, remember, what does the tomb represent? I have mentioned, okay, tomb is actually, okay, let's focus now on the Chou only in case I'm confusing you too much. Chou is the metal storage. When it is not open, it is a form of tomb or burial site, right? For metal, it is a burial site for metal. In terms of Bazi reading, when the auspicious element is being buried, it is often a sign of great danger, a situation that will bring about life-threatening issues, great financial difficulties, very serious health problems, etc. And how did Michael Jackson die? He died because of this, someone injected using a needle, all right? Some form of, I'm not too sure with the medical terms, but some form of medicine that helped him to sleep. Okay, so that is of the metal element. And putting him to sleep is a form of burial, metaphorically speaking. And we can observe that his death actually occurred during the Chou decade trend, okay, of this Chou decade trend. But another interesting point we can observe from his life, decade trend, is that, what can we observe? The first decade trend he has is all of the, what we call the hurting officer, which is a form of element that represents talents, the expressions of talents, musical talents, performance. For example, he performs a lot when he was young. Basically, he mentioned that he didn't have a childhood because his whole childhood was devoted to performing music or training, preparing for concerts, etc. So we can see, right, from his young age, he has already, firstly, very talented. Secondly, being able to leverage on the output factors, namely the eating gods and the hurting officer, to generate great wealth in his life. Okay, we can observe, right, subsequently, indirect wealth already appeared in his heavenly stamps in his 20s. So when he was around 20s, I believe he was already very famous. One of the one of the greatest artists of all time, being able to achieve great success from some of his albums, for example. One of the albums, the musical albums that he has, right? Actually, the records, the sales record actually is not able to be what we call is still of the highest number of records. So okay, it's the Thriller. If you're not too familiar, I'm also not too familiar with his music career, but you all can double check all this information from the Google, okay, or YouTube, all right, or watch some documentaries. Yes, which is exactly the Thriller. And Thriller is related to what kind of element, right? In terms of the Thriller, right, it's having a lot of zombie and stuff related to horror, kind of like horror movie theme kind of characteristics, and that is actually of the Kui element. In Bazi, right, every word is a form of picture, a form of metaphor. Kui is actually representing Kui. All right, this is in terms of the one of the schools in terms of Bazi reading called Man Pai, which is created by a blind man who is very, very well versed in Bazi reading. He couldn't see, but he is actually able to use Bazi as a form of seeing. means, right, he is able to use Bazi, each heavenly stems and earthly branches, as a form of metaphor for seeing things. And this is a method that has been invented by him. So each character is actually representing something. For example, Kui actually represents Kui. Any form of spirits or any form of related to the spiritual aspects of life. Okay, so Trader is of the Kui. And do you recall, right? Kui, Mu, right? He's of a Wu Earth Day Master, right? Wu Earth. And Kui, given that it is the nature of the team thriller, he's able to achieve great success with the release of this album. Right? No, so far it's still the highest number of records sold in the history of mankind. So Bazi is interesting in such a way whereby you can use it as long as you are able to understand what each alphabet in the Bazi system represents. Okay, so this is just a sidetrack a little bit, but we can obviously observe that by the time he reaches his 30 or 20, okay, let me correct some of the mistakes that I have made. Right, this is actually from 0 to 10, right, 0 to 10 years old. This is 10 to 20, so this is 20 to 30 years old. Okay, this is 20 to 30 years old. By the time he reaches his 20 to 30 years old, he's already a very wealthy person. I believe by the time he was from 20 to 30s, he was actually having the Leverland or something. He's a big house. He built a very big house that is, full of theme parks, full of roller coaster, they kind of merry-go-round within his house. All right, of course that takes a lot of money, and of course that during his 20s and 30s, he's already one of the most highest paid artists in the history of mankind. All right, during his 20 to 30s, which is of the Kui high. This is a very beautiful decade trend because both heavenly stem and earthly branches are all of the water element. Okay, what we in Chinese call tong, gan, tou, gen. To give you a very layman translation means that both heavenly stems and earthly branch are of the same element. And this is very powerful. All right, so in the future, right, if you analyze your own birth chart or your client's birth chart or your friend's birth chart, as long as you are able to observe both heavenly stems and the earth branch having the same element, usually it will bring about the greatest form of energy towards that person's chart. Of course, depending on whether that is a positive energy or a negative energy. Let's say for Michael Jackson, right, because he's a Wu Earth that is strong. Water, of course, is his wealth, right? Is his wealth. Okay, and having both wealth at the heavenly stem and the earth branch, the earthly branch, right, will bring about the greatest form of energy, right? Because, right, it's like your entire life, right? Everything in your life will be filled with financial opportunities, chances of making big money, whatever you do, even you just appear on the camera, you will be able to earn millions of dollars being a kind of like endorsed for like, endorsement kind of advertisement. Okay, but if you remember, right, when he entered into the year 1993, if you remember, that is of Jia Wood. What happened to him? He actually entered into some form of molestation charges. Okay, molestation charges, and almost landed him in jail. Do you remember that someone, I believe it was one of his fans, those younger ones, right? That kind of boys that he invited into his home. I believe, all right, according to history, that the parents of the kid, the boy actually sued Michael Jackson, claiming that he molested this boy. All right, and that was exactly within the decade trend of Jia. And what is Jia towards a Wu Earth Day Master? If you remember, Jia, all right, this Jia here is the seventh killing. I have often mentioned in previous lessons that seventh killing is often a sign of problems, a form or a sign of conflicts, even legal problems, challenges, obstacles, etc. But why is this seventh killing considered inauspicious for Michael Jackson? Right, exactly because given that Michael Jackson is having this Gen Shen at the month pillar as his auspicious element, Jia, which is of wood in nature, right? This is of course metal in nature. It will form a form of clash, right? When your most auspicious element is being clashed, of course, it will represent certain tragedy, challenges, legal problems, etc., to occur in his life. All right. So, are you able to come to a clear understanding of how we analyze decade trends? All this can be actually reflected from the way we analyze a decade trend. But ultimately, he was not charged. He was judged as not guilty because subsequently he entered into the Zi, water, earth branch, which is also an auspicious trend for him. Okay, so so this is how we actually are able to come to a better understanding of someone's life through the analysis of the 10-year cycle or the decade trend. And interestingly, if you can remember, if you go back to his personal life story, right, he's Wu, and it was during the decade trend of Zi that he got married, right? Because Zi is actually also the equivalent of Kui. Kui is being able to combine or pair with Wu Earth, right? He actually married a nurse that took care of him in the hospital. Okay, for the minor details, please go to the Google and search it because I know someone who is still into the music industry scene. But if from my memory, I do remember that during this period of his decade trend, which is he got married, and actually this wife or this nurse who subsequently became his wife helped him to give birth to various children. All right, and that will be in the trend of he already. Okay, he is the man's children. Okay, usually both Zheng Guan and Sisa will represent children. Okay, why is that so? Because if you remember, given that Kui is the wife, right? This is the wife of Wu Earth. This is the wife of Wu Earth, right? What happened during the period of Yi Wood? Because water is able to give birth to wood, all right? To give birth to wood. Thus, then is the period of life whereby he will enjoy the kind of family relationship with his own children. Okay, Rosto, yes, I also remember that he actually married Elvis Presley's daughter. Right? Thank you very much for highlighting this point. All right, actually, right in the year 1994, right, he so-called married Elvis Presley, but from both what from the account of Elvis Presley's daughter and also from what was actually kind of reported by the newspaper during that time was that it was actually a make-up marriage, in the sense that, all right, it's a make-up marriage to help him recover, right? Recover from the legal case, recover from his legal case. What needed to be recovered was, of course, his personal image. Why was that so? Because a lot of people was suspecting that he was a pedophile or even a homosexual. Nothing wrong with homosexuality, but in terms of pedophile, right, that was actually something that was against the social norm in all countries. Okay, so it is still something. Will always be something that is against the social norm. So so it was actually a kind of public image kind of campaign, right, to marry Elvis Presley. But was that actually marriage that was long lasting? The marriage with Elvis Presley actually was not long lasting. I believe they have divorced short after, subsequently, and then of course Elvis Presley's daughters actually went for a lot of interviews and exposing Michael Jackson's strange behavior, such as having to wear makeup every day as a man, etc., etc. Okay, of course maybe some of these stories are fake to just to how the media industry works, all right? Whatever is attention catching will always be highlighted by the media. Okay, so whatever it is, right? In terms of Bazi reading, right, we can actually observe all these points in someone's life, and ultimately we come to the death of Michael Jackson, right, which occurred in the what was the year that he died? Perhaps I just do a Google check. I couldn't really exactly remember, but I have do an in-depth study of his life. But let me double check on this. Okay, Michael Jackson died in the year 2009, right? 2009, and that was the year of within the Zi. In terms of the year, all right. Let me highlight this is the decade, right? Namely, all right, specifically from 2006 to 2010, and he died in the year of 2009, which is a year of the what we call the Zi Chou year. Okay, so very interestingly, we have two tones appearing in the year 2009. First of all, the tone is in the Earth branch, the LP branch in the year 2009, and secondly, appearing in the Earth branch of the decade trend from 2006 to 2010. Of course, having two tones, right? Two tones appearing. And actually, I will say it's three tones because this Zi Earth here is equivalent to Chou. Okay, this Zi Earth is equivalent to Chou. So three Earth appearing within this decade trend of Chou also. Three tones appearing, which buried the auspicious elements of metal. And that is exactly the reason why he passed away in the year 2009. And if we look at it in terms of the strength of the Day Master, right? Michael Jackson is of the Wu Earth. Okay, is of the Wu Earth. That is strong. Of course, what are the inauspicious elements or the negative elements for Wu Earth that is strong? That is strong, right? Perhaps all of us can try to answer this question. What are the inauspicious elements, right, for a Wu Earth that is strong? Perhaps someone can answer me this question. Okay, so is anyone able to answer this question? A very straightforward question, shouldn't be difficult to answer. So yes, very good, Jesse. Thank you very much for the answer. All right, Jesse answered that fire. And give me one more inauspicious element. Besides fire, what will be the next inauspicious element for a strong Wu Earth Day Master? Earth, exactly. Thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you very much for the answer. So exactly, Earth will be these two will be the inauspicious elements for someone who has a strong Wu Day master. So sadly, all right, in the year 2029, which is of 子丑 year, and he was also going through the decade trend of 丑. Plus, all these strong Earth all at the same time appearing in his decade trend and yearly trend will cause him to pass away. Okay, so I will say, right, once again, right, Bazi is very logical. As long as you are able to break down everything and analyze them in a very microscopic manner, so to speak, you'll be able to come to a very accurate analysis. So basically, this is the birth chart of Michael Jackson. I will say, right, some people rumor that, right, he's of a pedophile. Perhaps we can also double check if this is the case from his chart. Okay, all right, I will write down his birth chart again. Is he really a pedophile? From a Bazi perspective, what is the element that represents Michael Jackson's girlfriend? From a Bazi's perspective, of course, is indirect wealth, right? And indirect wealth actually appeared at the heavenly stem of the hour pillar. And in terms of Bazi reading, right, I have mentioned before, okay, in terms of Bazi reading, the year actually represents older people. The month actually represents people of similar age, okay, people of similar age or slightly older, or slightly older. Whereas the day actually represents ourselves, right? Of course, this is me. Then this is the spouse. And the time, right? The time actually represents younger people or children. And let's look at Michael Jackson's chart again, right? If we look at Michael Jackson's chart, the time pillar, which represents younger people and children, are also of the indirect wealth. Okay, this is the indirect wealth. So what I'm trying to say here is that his love for children is definitely there because rainwater is also his auspicious element. But will he go to the extent of becoming a pedophile? That is something that I will not want to pass judgment on. But I will pose this question to all my students and just to highlight to you, right, for people who have auspicious element at the hour pillar, might have a tendency to be more fond of friends who are younger than them. Okay. So to put this point aside, all right, let's say, right, for female gender who have a Wu Day master, right? Let's say you are of a female of a Wu, right? Then at your time pillar, you are having this Kui. Okay, sorry. Let me repeat myself once again. I have kind of I will give you another more easily another example that is more easy to understand. Okay, let's say you are of a Kui water, and you are a female, and then your time pillar is of the Wu Earth. Okay, this is your time. Then because right, if you remember the heavenly stems combination relationship, Wu Earth is the husband of Kui because Wu and Kui will combine to form a fire elemental energy. But to focus on this, what I'm trying to explain, Wu Earth being the husband of Kui at the time pillar would mean that your husband, if you are a female, your husband will likely to have a younger age than you. Okay, so for my female students,